Sonic Movie 3's run at the box office is finished, and not only was it a hit with fans, it was also a massive dub for Sega and Paramount. Look at that, just shy of $500 million. Sure, it's not plumber numbers, but scoring the number 2 spot. But scoring the number 3 spot of highest grossing video game movies of all time is certainly something the studio execs are happy with, which is why they're already back in the lab working on Sonic Movie 4. But while the third film was a commercial and critical success, there will always be a special type of critic that pops out just to hate that hedgehog.
I hate that hedgehog!
And I think it's fun to press them back a little. So let's look back at the absolute worst, most unhinged reviews of Sonic 3. From across the pond, the Times sent their chief film critic Kevin Maher to watch Peak. And this man came back swinging like Sonic keyed his Bentley. The headline literally calls it an eye-gouging, spirit-killing abomination. I thought they sent him to review Sonic 3, not Mufasa. He says we all know computer game adaptations are charmless, cash-grabbing muck. Computer games. The last time I heard someone call video games that, I was playing The Sims at my grandma's house. Then he hits us with gaming is to cinema as blancmange is to chess. That's not a metaphor, that's a stroke symptom. I had to Google blancmange, and it looks like what they serve at the end of bingo night at the senior center. This dude's pulling comparisons out of the 1954 cookbook section. And then he says video game characters are just tacky lip service paid to the idea of a central character. Buddy, please. This man probably thinks Master Chief is a brand of lawnmower. You can't take seriously a video game movie review from someone whose only exposure to gaming was watching the dot go back and forth in Pong. At this point, he's really mad at a cartoon hedgehog calling Sonic punchable. Careful trying that, Kevin. You might throw out your shoulder and have to miss tea time with the other Downton Abbey extras. Then we hit peak cringe. He calls Shadow the evil anti-Sonic. Oh, just because he's black and red, huh? And of course he gets offended when Sonic yells, "Loud American coming through," in the middle of the London scene. That single line had him so rattled he says he'd rather crawl under the movie theater seats and start licking up old Sprite and popcorn kernels than watch one more minute. Honestly, that's probably how the Times preserves Kevin. Salt and carbonation are nature's preservatives. And come on, Kev, really? 5 empty stars. He couldn't even commit to the 1 star hater life. He had to ghost the star system entirely. Maybe they should only dust Kevin off to review new episodes of Antiques Roadshow from now on. Next up, we got the Daily Beast, where writer Jordan Hoffman declares Sonic the Hedgehog 3 the worst kids movie in years. Okay, first off, it's a family movie. And second, is this another critic that accidentally watched Mufasa instead? Apparently watching this movie triggered a whole identity crisis for Jordan. My guy's posted up in a theater full of kids and he's sitting there thinking, why didn't I go to law school? True, he'd probably do better there than reviewing movies. He says this is the kind of movie you take your 9-year-old nephew to when he won't shut up about Pokemon. Man, I genuinely feel bad for his nephew. Imagine trying to enjoy a movie, sat next to Jordan radiating bitterness for 2 hours straight. Then he compares Sonic to Bugs Bunny and Woody Woodpecker and says he doesn't stack up in the lovable jerk cartoon animal category. Alright, so we're clearly dealing with another member of the Kevin Maher Retirement Club. Why do they keep sending these unks who never touched a controller to review video game movies? Oh, and he calls Shadow a darker blue hedgehog. Bro, Shadow is black and red. How are you a movie critic when you can't see colors past your cataracts? Let's just keep it scrolling here. Let's see. Oh, he calls the Cho Japanese marshmallows and talks about his inflamed hemorrhoids. Thank you for the medical overshare, Jordan. And then he leaves to go get candy. Bro's one job is watching movies, and he can't even commit to the hate watch. He then comes back to crash out over the release date of an oldie tune they used in the movie. Steam coming out his ears over a music licensing choice literally no one else cares about. He caps it by saying he doesn't want to sound like a curmudgeon, mission failed there, and recommends Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem instead for its visuals. Bro, you thought Shadow was blue. I'm not trusting your retinas on this one. Roasting the worst of the dusty news site reviews was the light work. It only gets more unhinged from here. It's time for the worst YouTuber reviews. Here's Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer. Let's see what she has to say.
All right, let's talk about Sonic. Let me get my arrow here. I thought Sonic was good, but not great, I'm sorry to say.
So she didn't love the movie, but still called it good. Hint box, you say. What could this reviewer possibly be doing on this list of the worst reviews?
I don't really know if Shadow and Maria should have been hanging out together so much.
What? Where are we going with this, Grace?
I don't know. I'd be like, I think you guys could have magical times together with adult supervision.
Grace, no!
It was nice that she would help Shadow and they bonded, but they didn't need to watch movies together, cozying up in her room. Why not in the commissary with everybody else?
Pause! Shadow getting called a groomer was not on my bingo card when I started this video. I think that deserves an award for the most out-of-pocket, insane take on the movie ever. No, Grace, Shadow being childhood friends with Maria does not make him Shadow the Predhog. Maybe you didn't have friends to experience this with, but hanging out and watching movies together is normal. This shouldn't have to be explained. My brain is starting to hurt thinking about the implications of Grace's dark headcanon, so let's move on.
I mean, Sonic 3 in particular has incredible audience scores, very strong audience scores.
Yeah.
So why is it softer than Sonic 2?
Softer box office numbers, she means, which didn't age well.
This one is much more fan-focused than the other two.
Great.
Which is obviously delighting hardcore fans, but I think makes the film a scooch less enjoyable for casuals like myself.
Grace thought Sonic 3 wasn't going to make as much money as the first two because it made the fans too happy. Our movies should be watered down with licensed pop music and simple storylines to please the casuals, because she goes on to say the plot was a bit too heavy for her.
Also, I have to say Sonic 3 was super serious. I was like, this is a very serious film, which is let's say a surprising choice for family content, especially if it comes out during the holidays. You're like, this film's a little bit of a downer.
It also had plenty of jokes and a Jim Carrey dance sequence, but maybe movies with more than one tone are too much for Grace. After all, she does admit that she got somehow filtered by the Super Mario Bros. Movie not being casual enough either.
Super Mario Bros., I would say, is also a movie that leaned more into the fandom than it did pleasing the overall, moviegoer population. But because I didn't think it was accessible as a non-fan.
Oh wow, love these pipes.
All right, next up we have Checks Notes, Matt Walsh. This is some political guy who mainly talks about how men need to be more tough and manly or something. Sadly, he wasn't quite tough enough to survive watching a movie though, judging by the title of his review. The movie that broke me as a father. Press F to pay respects, lads.
Or most harrowing of all, he may be compelled by his paternal obligations to go to a movie theater and watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, a man in that situation would, of course, much prefer to be engulfed in flames or hit by a speeding train.
Yep, this guy who's usually ranting about society collapsing spends 10 minutes crying that his sanity is collapsing because his kids made him watch a movie. But let's hear him out.
Now, for the record, I'll say I greatly enjoyed most of the time that I spent with my wife and kids these past 2 weeks. We had a lot of fun together. We played football, we played outside.
Okay, this is kind of brutal. Maybe speed it up a little.
We shot
BB guns, we played card games and board games. I completely wrecked my whole family in Monopoly 2 nights in a row. Wasn't even close. We took the kids ice skating. I was ice skating. My wife and kids were left dumbstruck by my gracefulness and elegance on the ice. They didn't say that,
My 8-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter asked me to take them to go see Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I did. God help me. God help me. I did.
God helped him survive that movie theater. Imagine his kids having a great time while he was sitting there next to them, literally shaking like he's witnessing a live leak video.
In all fairness, I never saw Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Matt, you have to see the first two. You may not have liked this one, but you'll love those. I promise. I'm definitely not trying to trick you into torturing yourself more. Speaking of torture, I don't really want to subject you guys to any more of his, well thought out critiques. So here's just a quick cut of his most hysterical crying.
Bores you to the point of putting you to sleep, but also annoys you at the same time. An impromptu dance routine that makes no narrative sense. Deeply irritated, fighting to stay awake, feeling like I was being waterboarded with high fructose corn syrup the whole time.
Well, hopefully Matt's kids powered through his miserable attitude enough to still enjoy the movie. And Matt, sorry Sonic couldn't finally help you figure out what a woman is. And there you have it. Those were the most unhinged, loony bin Sonic 3 reviews I could find. Did I roast them? Was I packbox? These people somehow make IGN look sane. Well, kind of. Which review do you think was the worst? Sound off in the comments and hit the like button and the subscribe button